What's up, dog trainers? Let's talk about recall. What is recall? Recall is coming when called. When you call the dog and they come over to you. Let me show you a quick example. Sam, come! Here he comes. Good boy. Good, Sammy. Where are you? Hi, Sammy. Hi. All right, that is recall. When I call the dog and they come over to me. Coming when called. So it's a very useful command, albeit maybe one of the most important, especially for safety reasons. But for some reason, a lot of people struggle teaching this, right? The common dog owner can teach sit, right? Sit's easy, even down or roll over. But this one's a little different. And the question is, why is it different? Well, it's different because this behavior is more expensive. And what do I mean by that? It's more expensive because the cost for the dog to come do the work of going from over there to over here requires more effort, and it can be challenging because you sometimes may be asking the dog to leave something, right? Sam was probably just laying down and comfortable, but he came over because I gave him a lot of really good praise. He's really driven by praise. Most dogs, you need to use food or a toy. So in his mind, it's worth it to come over to me because of that reassurance that I'm going to give him or the reward that I'm going to give him. Most of the time, people are just not rewarding the dog enough, so that way the dog has no incentive to want to come over to you, especially if the dog gets outside and outside, which is Disneyland, lots of wonderful sights, smells, and sounds, and you want the dog to come back to you because you want to put the dog back inside? Like, from the dog's point of view, they don't want to do that. It's fun to be outside. So it's all about motivation. We want to motivate the dog to do what we want, which is coming when called, by using a very highly valued reward, or what's known as a jackpot reward, to teach it. Now, once it's taught, you can just reinforce it through long-term maintenance. But when you're initially teaching it, you want to use something that has incredible value, a jackpot reward, right? Maybe that's a new toy, a new ball that the dog's never seen before. Maybe it's a handful of treats, right? 10 or 15 treats, and you drop them on the ground for the dog. Maybe it's some high-value treats, fresh chicken, some leftover steak, something like that. Something of incredibly high value to the dog so that you leave a lasting impression of coming when called is worth it from the dog's point of view. Once you establish it in the home with no distractions, then you can start to do the work outside. So if you have a fenced-in area, or if you're just outside and you want to train the dog to be able to come back to you, outside is great because there's so many distractions outside. Like I said, Disney World, sights, smells, and sounds, people, dogs, children, vehicles, cars, trucks, strollers, bicycles, skateboards, right? All of these things are possibly really interesting to the dog. So you're fighting against all of that interesting stuff. And you have to be much more interesting than all of that. And you can do that if you motivate the dog with the right reward or reinforcer. So once you establish inside the house and it works really, really well with no distractions, you can go outside. And I'll show you a video here of me working with an owner and her dog Lula. And she mastered it inside the house. We then took it outside. Now we used a long 20 or 30-foot lead to kind of be a safety net or a safety barrier. So that way, in case there was an emergency or another dog came by or something, we still had her on the lead, so she couldn't go anywhere. But she had a lot more freedom of movement, and then we were just standing about 15 feet apart and just recalling, and that distance gradually increased. And then next thing you know, now Lula's running back and forth in response to the COME command, your come command, and you'll also see that we weren't using jackpot rewards because she already learned it. So we tapered her down into just a maybe one piece of food or 2 pieces of food. But we were getting reliable recall, and that was kind of the first step into a larger world of generalizing your dog with their obedience commands. Have a look.
Lula, come.
Yes, good girl. Yeah, very good. Very good.